Hello, welcome to the Gers TV. My name's Cy Leslie. We've got Lewis and we've got Jay here. Today we're going to discuss the Europa League draw and how this affects Rangers and our thoughts on progressing. How are we doing, guys?
Well, a wee bit better than what I was last night. A wee bit more positive now. I watched the Europa League draw when I was in class in college, and I've literally just rushed out of the studio so I could come on for you guys. Anyways, Jay, how are you?
I'm good. Seeing the draw got me a bit excited. You know, I think we played our best football last season in this competition, and I hope we can do it again. Looking at the draw, it looks quite favourable compared to last season, but I'm sure we'll get stuck into that now.
Yeah, I mean, before I start, at the bottom of the screen, you will see the ties. We don't know the dates. I've heard some information there that might be wrong, but the dates might not be available till Saturday. So be careful when you're booking trips. In terms of the draw itself, it could have been a lot harder. Obviously, we'd like to have been in the Champions League, but when I'm looking at these teams here, it's a lot easier on the heart. Let's just say the draw could have been a lot harder if we were in the Champions League. It could have been a nightmare for us, to be fair, after what we've watched in the last few weeks. So we've got the draw at the bottom here. I'm going to read out the teams when they come out here. So Roma at home, Porto away, Braga home. How do you pronounce that one?
Ferencvaros.
Next one is, I don't know how to pronounce this one at all. Ludogorets, Sturm Graz, Genk, and Braga. Is it Braga? I'm not getting the glasses on.
Braga at home.
And Braga's at home, right? So we've got them up there. Should have been getting my eyes tested a bit better than that. It's much smaller right than I thought. But anyway, guys, that's it. The draws up there. You can have a look at it. What's our initial thoughts on it? Two Portuguese teams.
I think we do quite well normally against Portuguese teams, if I remember rightly. Two Portuguese teams that we've played in recent seasons as well. With Porto, we played them quite a few years ago now. I think it was 2019, 2020 that we played Porto?
Yep, you're right. Two at home, then one each away.
One each away, yeah, and we've got Porto away. So that is definitely going to be our hardest away trip, Porto. But again, it's a good place to go, good city to go and visit for the fans. So that'll be a good away trip. But Braga as well, we got them at home, and both times we played Braga at home in recent seasons have been heart attack games. You got the 3-2 with the Hadji free kick, the comeback, and then you've got the 3-1 extra time on our way to when we got to the Europa League final, and they got 2 players sent off that game as well. So we've always had interesting games against Braga. So I'm hoping for another win, but not so dramatic.
I will say that the trip that stands out the best to me, or the most interesting, is the Porto. I done that in the game you mentioned, Porto. It's a great city, great culture, great footballing place, and fantastic beer.
I was going to say, I'm sure you enjoyed the beer.
Super Bock, loyal.
Super Bock, yeah.
Fantastic. Good people, to be fair. I drank in a clubhouse after the game, and a club that has no liking for Celtic. So we've got a wee bit in common with them. In terms of the home ties, are all winnable. The away ties, they are quite hard, but this is a draw that I would say is very favourable for Rangers, and I'm quite confident that we can come out of this successful.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say actually what I said last year. I would be happy enough if we finish in the sort of playoff round. To be honest, I don't see us finishing in the top 8. I mean, you never know. We did last year, and we had a harder draw, but you could probably say that aside the quality in the side has decreased this year massively. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple of tough games, of course, Roma and Porto, but I think Sturm Graz away is going to be a very tough game, and even Brann as well in Norway, I think that's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably the hardest game would be the Roma game. I'm glad we've got them at Ibrox. That suits us, I think. We probably better get the tough start. We really need to start getting a run of games going. The club needs to get a bit of confidence back into itself, and we're at the level we should be at now. We'd all like to be in the Champions League, but we're at the level we should be at, and they're all games that are winnable, exciting, but I would say it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, sorry.
Go on, Lewis.
No, you're fine. Crack on.
I was going to say, I think these games are a lot better for the squad than going into the Champions League. You got a number of teams in the Champions League that we saw Club Brugge draw yesterday, and I'm thinking that's just going to do no one any good. You know, the players' confidence would be shot after a game against, I don't know, the likes of Arsenal or someone like that, you know. So I feel like these teams are definitely the right level for us to try and get some confidence in the players, trying to improve this harmony that Russell Martin spoke about the other day. But I'm quite confident. If I looked at last season, how many points we got, and we got 14 points, and we finished in the top 8. We squeezed in that 8th place. But if we take the Roma game, if we take the Porto and Braga out of the equation, and we look at Ferencváros, Ludogorets, Sturm Graz, Genk, and Brann, those are 5 very winnable games. You win those 5, you've got 15 points. That's more points than we had in the entirety of last Europa League group stage campaign, without even looking at
it's about breaking it down. You're right. It's about breaking it down. Rather than thinking we won all the games, there's a couple of them in there I would say maybe a draw would be good enough. And you really need to win your games at Ibrox. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Win your games at Ibrox, a couple of draws and one sneak away win away for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, of course, Braga, as we mentioned, and even Porto as well, a familiar opponent. Certainly, I mean, we've played Braga, that would be like 4 times in the last, 5-6 years or so we've played them. So
all good games, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think there's a team in there that are very, very easy, to be honest. I don't think we've got.
I would say that
we've not got the easiest run in the world. I don't think. I
think most Rangers supporters would probably agree with us. The team I fear the most is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to recover in the next couple of weeks, how we're going to recover at the weekend. I'm more worried about that. If we can get ourselves back onto the European form, Thursday nights at Ibrox and the atmosphere, things like that, I'm more than confident. But it's more the Rangers side of it I'm worrying about than the opposition.
Yeah, I think it'll also help if we can get a favourable fixture list in the Europa League. So I think it comes out on Sunday, but if we can start the campaign with a home game against the likes of Ludogorets, for example, I think if we can get that, we'd obviously also need to get the win, which I'd feel confident that we could do.
Yeah, big help,
try and start the Europa League campaign on the right foot and avoid someone like a Porto away or even a Roma at home, because Roma have got a new manager this year. They've got Gasperini, who was the Atlanta manager when they won the Europa League a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, so and their team was formidable. Yeah.
Competition. And you don't want to start the Europa League campaign with a home game against Roma, getting beat and potentially, having a situation with what we had with Lyon when we got beat 4-1. This team couldn't recover from something like that, I don't think. So I'd want to avoid a team like that first. Try and get a win under our belts, and then try and build up some momentum going into the remaining games.
Like I said, it looks so far like it's been quite favourable for Rangers. There are a few stinkers in it, but you're always going to get that size of draw. It's certainly something that we can come out of, but I do agree with you. We need to hit the ground running, hopefully winning our first home game. In terms of the news in the last couple of days, guys, what's your take on the news about Nico Raskin?
Yeah, Jeff, you want to go first on that, pal?
I think it's sad, to be honest. What's going on. Obviously, his father's come out and made some comments, and there's reports today that he wasn't training with the squad. I'm not sure how true they are, but if he's not in that squad for Sunday, and if he gets a move this summer, I think it's a disgrace, because without players like Raskin, players that have played for this club, especially in these European games, know how to win games in Europe, the season's just going to be a lot harder, in my opinion. And I feel like he's a player that he hasn't always played his best football for us. It's not exactly like we signed him and he's been a superstar ever since. It's taken him some time, but the back end of last season was his best football that he played for us. We should have been everything we should have been doing this season should have been with him in that number 6 and building the players around him. But to not do that and to have him be brushed aside for Rothwell, and now looks like he's had a falling out with Russell Martin. I just think it's not good at all. It's not good for Russell Martin, for the team, for us, for our hopes on Sunday, and for the remaining games this season. I think it's really poor, and we need to sort that, because he needs to stay. We can't afford to lose him as well.
He does. The big thing for me is a comment came in from Nathan McCulloch there, and basically the suggestion is that Raskin's fit and ready for Sunday. It's whether or not these rumours are true. Now, one thing I will say is it was his dad's opinion on the Facebook was it Facebook or Twitter, whatever it was on the social media, and there's very few people would disagree with his dad's opinion, what he wrote about Russell Martin. However, this is a massive decision for Martin. If we drop Raskin completely like we think they are, and Rangers take a down, this is all on the manager. I can't, even if you think that the Raskin's out, if anyone thinks that Raskin's not in the right, he's our best player in the midfield and arguably our best player in the team, and you have to play him at this game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as I said last night's show, Raskin's the heart of your midfield, and it was at the end of last season as well. Certainly, as you alluded on earlier on, Jay, that was probably his best years in a Rangers top last year. And I seen a clip of a press conference after the game we played against Celtic, and the captain does, and it was actually tearing up, and it made me sad, because if these rumours are true that he's been told to train with the under-19s or under-21s, whatever it is, with Clinton, with Ciala and Leon King, it's sad. It's sad to see, arguably, as you have said, our best midfielder and maybe even our best player in the team being forced out the club due to a stupid, simple, petty fallout, to be honest. And as you said, if we take it down or even get beat, it's all on the manager. I think if these rumours are true anyways, I seen another rumour earlier on, a photo, and it was just going into Edinburgh Airport, and it was a Reggie play that had RSK 43, Raskin 43.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, there's supposedly a move to Wolves on the cards.
The thing about this is, if the worst case, or not the worst case, in my opinion, the best case scenario, but if the manager was to be sacked in the next couple of weeks, then we've lost Raskin, who, in my opinion, is our best player, all because of a feud. So I'm hoping whatever happens here, that Raskin doesn't leave, and a new manager comes in, and the new manager can resolve this, because I don't think it'll be hard to resolve. It's a bit like Agamani. Agamani looked as if he was enjoying his football last year, and all of a sudden the head's down. There's a common denominator here, and that's the manager. I think that's the biggest issue, and I don't like the way things have been. I don't like the way he's managed things, and I don't like the way also that Russell Martin has thrown players and people under the bus. Never seems to be his fault. There's some things you have to keep private and in the dressing room.
I mean, a wee comment there for Nathan once again. I'm sorry. For Nathan, just saying that Russell Martin did confirm that Nico Raskin's fitting well for the game on Sunday. Well, I don't think his fitness isn't. It's whether he's leaving or not, to be honest.
Back to the last comment that just came up there. The press conference is in about 10-15 minutes. The first question is going to be asked is Nico Raskin playing at the weekend? And if he says no, then that's nothing to do with fitness. No, and that's a personal agenda.
If he says no, then that means he's going, in my opinion. You know, because why else would he not be involved? But he can't go. The board cannot sanction this transfer because it's too late in the window. Like, how are we going to replace him? Who's going to come in to replace him? Unless we're just going to have Rothwell and Barron as our number sixes. But again, you're already decreasing the quality of a squad that looks even a shadow of themselves from last season, with all these new players coming in and potentially not being up to it. As last season wasn't a good season. So we need to keep hold of some players who we feel like are at the right quality levels, and Raskin's definitely that. So unless the board have some master plan and they've got a number 6 in mind that they can come and bring in with that money, he should not be going anywhere.
The other thing as well, you can't really control what his dad said. Peter McCready's coming up with a good point here, right? To be honest, I think his dad's comments are the tip of the iceberg in this. He has changed the team and dropped players who were good and progressing. Now, that's his dad's comments. Where do you draw the line? His cousin, his brother? Everybody's entitled to an opinion. It wasn't actually Nico Raskin that made the comments, so I think it's a bit unfair. And I think everybody agrees with his dad.
I mean, to be fair, I think if that's his dad saying that, I wonder what Nico's actually saying to the manager.
Aye, well, human nature, yeah.
I mean, what I was going to say earlier on is that obviously the rumours of him going down to Wolves. I think a player like a player like Nico Raskin of this quality. I mean, it's a shame if it's true that he's been forced out the team, but I think a player of his quality and a player who's still young, he's an international, should be going to a better team than Wolves, in my opinion. I don't think Wolves are a bad team, but they're certainly looking one of the relegation favourites in the Premiership. So well, I think he's got to aim a bit higher there.
I agree with you there, but there's another thing. It usually be a bit young to remember this, but Graham Souness was quite famous for getting rid of people that didn't suit the team, and big names like Graham Roberts and Terry Butcher. You can do that when you're winning, You can't do that when you're losing, because on this occasion, on the occasions I mentioned, everyone was quite happy to back Souness eventually because they realised that he was a winner. Russell Martin to me is now a winner, and the fans will back in favour Nico Raskin. I think there's only one winner in this, in the PR war. I don't see, if it happens, I don't see, especially if Rangers lose, I don't see Martin coming back from it.
And I mean, as you said, you don't think Russell Martin's a winner. He's never been a winner. The only thing he's won is the playoffs with Southampton. That's the only thing that he's won in his managerial career. He was average at Swansea and MK Dons. He was awful at Southampton, and now he's even worse with us. So I mean,
when we were first looking at appointing him, I saw like his win record was like 39%, and I was like, that's terrible. Like
I think he's getting worse now.
But it's worse now. It's like 33%. It's even worse than what his record was at the start of, and it's like that's just so far away from being good enough. It needs to improve drastically. I mean, the game on Sunday is a perfect game for it to change, but I can't see it. Especially not if he's not having players like Raskin around for that game. Players that are actually there. Rothwell, in a game like that, we completely lost. And
that was my point I was going to make. Raskin knows the game, so and same as Tavernier, they both know the game. But whatever anybody thinks of these two players, in terms of that team now, we need experience against Celtic. More than anything, we need experience. And I'd like to see Raskin playing, even if they're looking to sell him, they won't play him. But I would be scunnered if that happened. I think he's definitely the kind of player that we should be looking to build the team around. I would have had him as one like captain, to be fair. I seen his interview today when he captained Rangers. He was emotional. The guy gets the club, he understands it. And if I'm comparing him to Joe Rothwell, there's no comparison whatsoever, in my opinion. Plus, Rothwell has never looked fit since he signed for Rangers. That's a concern if he's going to pick one over the other, and it's Rothwell.
And I'm going to go into this comment here from Deplorable on YouTube here. Martin out, Barry, Billy, and Neil back. Now, we look at that sort of managerial interim squad that came in with Barry Ferguson, Billy Dodds, Neil McCann, Alan McGregor, and all that. They came in and they were poor in my eyes, to be honest. Do you think if they were to come back, they would do any better than this?
No, I think I wouldn't be able to be too overcritical of them because they came in with what you could class as a poison chalice. Barry, Neil, McGregor, Billy Dodds are all Rangers men. We know that, and they gave it their all. However, it's a long-term picture. For me, there's only one option, right, and it's been spoken about all day. If Rangers could really want to excite the fans, get the Americans want to get us back on board into a new era, they should be doing everything they can to get Marino to Ibrox. That might not happen, but that's my opinion.
What I would do to see that man in the dugout.
It would make me very happy with that, let's just say.
I would absolutely love it, right? But I don't mean to be negative once again. One, I don't see it happening at all. I don't think we'd be able to pay his wages. And I don't think, as much as we've got a new board in, it's a whole takeover, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he'd get the backing that he wants at Rangers either. He's been at clubs, Fenerbahce aren't a poor club. I mean, they're not one of the top clubs up there in terms of finances, but I mean, Tottenham, Man United, even Chelsea.
But he's been most suited at British clubs.
Yeah,
he seems to be most happy at British clubs, and he's also made it clear that he's more interested in the culture and the actual clubs than he is in the finance. And this might be his last big move in football. So I think there's a wee bit more in it because he likes a challenge, and he likes a rivalry, and he likes controversy. And you couldn't get a better job than the Rangers one for that.
What I would say is the atmosphere in the game against Fenerbahce and when we won the penalty shootout last season was incredible. So it's a good sort of way to advertise the club to him and what he could be a part of if he was to come here and be successful and get that crowd like that more often. I think it definitely would be something that he'd be interested in. My only worry
we played Chelsea in a friendly. He was the manager then. I know he was impressed with the club then.
I know, I was at that game actually. But I think what he would want is players who can go and win now. And what we have done is got a lot of players on loan who aren't going to be here in a year's time, or really young players who we're looking to get them to a good level in the future. So I don't think with this current squad he would be able to do much. So I'm not sure if that would stop him from wanting to take the job. If we had more 25, 26, 27-year-olds who were in their prime and performing on the pitch, I think he would take it potentially, obviously, but not.
Yeah.
But
I think
not
if
with
he
the current
came in,
squad.
if I think he came in, he wouldn't be too keen in that squad he's got, and there's nothing he can do because he wouldn't have enough time to change it. The deadline's on Monday. But the first thing he would do, he would make, again, it's only hearsay, but the first thing he would do, he'd make us hard to beat. He'd probably have to make us a really boring team now, but we're boring anyway. But he would just make us hard to beat because the defence is an absolute shambles, and that defence is not improving one bit under Russell Martin, and it won't improve. At least a guy like that would organise us until the next transfer window, and then he would have to be promised, as you said, was it yourself, Lewis, when he said that
Yeah, I mean,
he'd need
for
the funds.
me, like Jose Mourinho, one of the best managers of all time, in my opinion. His track record, you can't complain at it. But I think in recent history, you look at Man United, Tottenham, Roma, and now Fenerbahce. His last 4 clubs he's been sacked from. I don't know what that says. I don't know how you feel about that, but that doesn't really ring too many bells for me.
It's back to what I'm saying. This is probably his last big opportunity in football because he's getting older. I thought I got a feeling when he was a manager at the European game last season, that the buzz was back in him at Ibrox. He came into the Rangers dressing room, he congratulated Barry and everything else. The old Josie was back, and there's a story unfinished there. He's got business he wants to finish. He doesn't like Celtic. He's shown a liking for Rangers in the past. It would be Hollywood if he came up to Glasgow because the media would attack him.
I mean, he's classy anyways. He's no scruffy like you say about Russell Martin anyways.
Aye. And the other thing about him is, well, I'm scruffy today. I'm just finished work, to be fair. The other thing about him is he would call out Scottish football. See, the decisions that went against Rangers and went for Celtic in the last couple of years have been incredible. And I say incredible. Josie's the kind of manager that would call this out. And also, he seems to just like the British style of management.
I think he would love it, to be honest. I think he would love the club. He would hate the referees in Scotland. But also, I think sometimes there are decisions that are 50-50. But having a manager like Jose Mourinho in the dugout will swing those 50-50s your side more often than not. So I feel like things like that helps as well. It'll help the club in terms of, trying to increase its global presence as well, and having these new American owners in. You see what the likes of Ryan Reynolds do with Wrexham, for example, and getting into a sort of a location where they don't really have a football team, but making their football team Wrexham. I feel like we don't do that enough. We don't go to these places in America enough where there are supporters up for grabs who can go and buy your merchandise, and all of that helps the club long term bring more money into it. And I feel like having someone like Jose Mourinho, you could potentially get a Netflix deal or Disney Plus or all that sort of stuff.
It's a wee bit like the Steven Gerrard, yeah. When we go to Steven Gerrard, the amount of followers he's got is very similar. Everybody in football knows Jose Mourinho. The other thing, just to cut in there quickly, before I forget this, Jay, is there's another market that Rangers are missing out on massively just now, as Celtic's been doing this for a few years now, is big dinners in London, where all the big businesses are. Having those dinners, you can make a fortune, and there's thousands of Scotsmen that live in England. That's a market they should be looking at, but also the international market. Somebody like Mourinho would be, that would catalyst the Rangers support. It would unite us again. When we signed Souness, it was no one likes us, we don't care. Everybody together, and it was a fight. With Russell Martin, I feel as if the club's completely lost direction, and the support, there's a toxic atmosphere there, but the support are right in this. Nobody wanted the manager, and as the games go on, they're becoming more and more disillusioned. We need somebody we can believe in, and someone that would give us that passion back.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wanted the manager then. Absolutely, certainly, no one wants a manager now. Yep. So I think if you're at 99% of the folk wanting the manager sacked, I think if this Raskin uses through, I think you're up to 100% now, surely.
Well, I can't think of anybody that still wants to keep him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't speak for every single Rangers fan. I mean, you never know. You might get the odd couple of happy clappers that are fine, that are like, oh, we'll trust the process, but you can't accept this. You can't accept what's going on now.
Aye, it's also the fact that you've seen so many interviews with Russell Martin from previous clubs and similar results, and it's
just copy and pasted.
It's effectively the same bullshit.
It is, and that's the biggest worry. It's almost as if we're just living through what they've had to live through, just in a different time. Just a year later, it's the same stuff, same excuses, same just lack of accountability in these.
It's always someone else's fault. Yeah,
always someone else's fault, and it's not good enough, and that's not going to work at this football club. This club under Russell Martin has been booed off the pitch more times than I've probably seen any football team being booed off the pitch before. The fans don't want him. The performances aren't there. The results aren't there. Get rid of him. And like you say, if we could bring in someone like Jose Mourinho, but that's it. We need someone in the market in order to get rid of Russell Martin to bring someone else in. But you've got a manager right there. You never know. If you want ambition as a football club, and you want to try and get the best manager out there that you could possibly get, there's no one better right now.
Yeah, Peter's asked the question there, what about Luciano Spalletti, who has just left the Italian national job? This is the point we're trying to make. There's big managers out there who are not on a contract. That was why I was suggesting Mourinho one earlier on. But again, big names. I don't know how he would fare in British football, but you're looking at Scottish football more like it because it's a completely different game. But we're looking for somebody that can come in. We don't have to buy the contract out right away. With the financial fair play, and that's the kind. I definitely think we'll have to be looking at another manager just now, even if they're not making that public. They have to be. But what's your thoughts on the above name, Luciano Spalletti?
I like him. But I think we need a manager that's got a presence and that demands the respect of the players. I don't feel like Russell Martin does that at all.
That's exactly what he's not got. Yeah,
that's what he's not got. And I feel like a manager like Spalletti coming in, I think straight away he demands respect and he'll get those players in line. I think that's what they need. That's what this squad needs. Otherwise, you've got a load of young players running riot and doing all sorts and not being together, fighting in the same direction. So, yeah, I'd be all for it.
The other thing I've noticed as well, we'll probably notice this, is every time Rangers get beat, Russell Martin has a good ability to change the subject, and it's never kind of his fault. Whatever happens on Sunday, if the board decide they're not going to sell him, you have Monday's transfer window closing, and I think some players will come in and out. The problem I've got is it doesn't matter who comes in as a player. I don't want Russell Martin to be the manager of Rangers, and it won't change my mind. Sunday's game won't change my mind.
No, I'm the same, and as I said last night, I think Sunday's game just papers over the cracks if we get a win, because there's a clear attitude problem at Rangers, and there's certainly an attitude problem with Russell Martin. I mean, the whole sort of, it's everyone else's fault but not mine. I mean, I spoke enough about it last night. I think, the whole blaming the fans negativity, blaming the players, the players' mentality, but it's actually yours. I mean, as you spoke about Hamza Egeman, I said it in our group chat earlier on. Hamza Egeman at Rangers last season under Clement and even Barry Ferguson,
he enjoying his football.
Like that, happy to be there, sort of knuckling down. It's a new country, a new culture, a completely new language. You're going to expect the boy to take a bit of time to settle in. He probably did. He took, say, a couple of months. He came in, and I wouldn't say he was fantastic, but he was a good player, and you seen that he had that sort of raw potential.
The other thing is, see all these players that he's fell out with, they were all enjoying their football.
Exactly. Yep. Raskin and Tavernier, if there has been a supposed fallout there, two crucial players in our team. Whatever you think about Tavernier or not, or whatever, he's our captain at the end of the day.
Let's be frank. You see the things that the players are saying in private, in their group chats or in the dressing room or anything else. It's going to be quite similar to what we're saying, because the football on offer is absolutely atrocious. Far too many passes, doesn't suit the style. The players don't fit into it. This is just common sense, really. That a lot of the things he'll be saying is exactly what we're saying.
I don't really know if I can see any of the players calling him a cabbage like I seen Shona earlier on. But a cabbage, I love that word. I love that word, cabbage. But you're totally right. But I agree with you. Players have got to feel some way similar to us, I think.
Aye. So guys, listen, I'm very out of time. It's been quite a good day. Is there anything you want to finish with here?
Yeah, no, I don't really know if you maybe want to talk a wee bit more about me off screen. I don't think we'll see it announced at the weekend. If it's not announced today, then I think it will be announced.
Aye, so that's what it's kind of alluding to about a minute ago. So just say that the worst case we get to do in our Celtic, and then they bring him in Monday afternoon.
I think for me personally, it's crucial that you bring him in before the Old Firm. He's one of the players. As much as we spoke about it last night, maybe even if he doesn't start, if he comes off the bench 60, 70 minutes, he's going to score you a goal.
Let me put it another way: if you bring him in after the Old Firm, it could be too late.
Exactly, you're right.
What's the point of bringing a good striker in when it's too late?
But it's not just a striker that we need though. We also need another left back because Magoma, the 19-year-old, cannot be playing every game in Europe against all of these teams as well as domestically at 19 years of age. And if you're not putting him there, who else are you putting in there? Max Aarons and or James Tav playing left back. We need another left back. We need another left centre back. You know, we need another leader in that defence who can organise. There's more than just a Miovski that needs to come in the door, and they need to
I actually
hurry up
feel as
because
if we need a full. Yeah, I know we've got a new defence, but I actually think we need a full new defence again. Giga might prove us wrong. That's about it.
I'm gonna be honest.
Maybe.
I do like the boy. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, but if you get a left centre back in who's experienced, he's a leader who can organise the rest of the defence. You bring in another experienced left back. You can then start to see maybe he can form a good partnership with Giga. John Suter drops to the bench. You know, Max Arms drops to the bench. You've got that experience of Tav back in this side. Maybe you can then start to see a bit of organisation at the back. You know, 4 people that can communicate with each other. Maybe you can start to see that. Just bringing in 1 or 2 additional players in the defence can really change the whole thing.
Again, one of the names I mentioned, he's not a big name, and you get him for a reasonable price with the boy Gogic at St Mirren. People can laugh. I've seen people mocking it when I say this, but every time he plays against Rangers, he's the best player on the park, and he's quite simply bullies our defence when he's up for attack, corners or whatever. And it's just sometimes you have to just buy the players. When we bought Marvin Andrews, he wasn't world class, but he played beside Boomsong. Marvin Andrews just done the basics, and that's what you need. Somebody who's no nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the shout of Gogic. I think he's been a name that's always been in the Scottish game, to be honest. I mean, he was at Accies and I believe Hibs as well. I think he was.
He's also commented that his dad's a big Rangers fan.
Yep. Well, I mean, another option for me is I'm probably maybe a more reliable option, ex-Aberdeen player, Scott McKenna. I think on the left-hand side, he's left-footed as well. So I think he's an option that we should have certainly been looking at strongly in the summer.
See these young boys that we've got. That's what they are, young boys, and they should be there to learn the game. But Rangers have been using an experiment for these teams that they were getting them from.
At the same time, Giga's not short of experience. I mean, he's played at Red Star. I mean, who are one of the teams in one of the most fiercest derbies in the world against Partizan, the eternal derby. I mean, and he's also played in Europe with them, and he's played in the Premiership with Wolves. He's not shy of experience, but I do think he needs that sort of more veteran sort of figure at the back to help him out as well, because he's not old either. He is still young. The
other problem with Suter is a good defender if it's back to the wall type defence you're looking at, but he's not a ball player. And he's not at his age. He's not going to become a ball player.
No, he's not, and he doesn't suit Russell Martin's style of play, where he's want to try and play out from the back, dead slowly, passing sideways, backwards, whatever you want to say.
He's terrified at times when he gets the ball.
He is terrified, and you're right. I think he's been an absolute bomb scare on that left hand side, and I do like Suter. I do like him as a centre half. I don't think we'll see him drop, considering we've seen Tavernier getting dropped and then Suter being handed the armband. Considering we've got probably, you could argue, maybe better leaders in the squad if you're taking Suter and Tavernier out the race. So for me, Butland,
who was a part of that leadership group that Russell Martin brought when he first came in?
I'm pretty sure Dowell's in it.
Dowell,
Tavernier, Dowell, Suter, and I think Butland. I think Butland was.
So Raskin wasn't even in that leadership group.
I don't think so.
Right, so I'm not sure really. It's all very cliquey.
But it's like, things like that. You're putting Dowell, who wasn't even here like last season, in a leadership group instead of Raskin, when all the fans are saying he should be, you know, up for potentially being the captain this year, and he's not even part of the leadership group. So already you're probably, and he might be thinking that as well. I mean, these people, they've got social media. These players, you know, they're looking at what the fans think, and if the fans are calling for him to be the captain, he might be thinking, I might actually have a chance here of being the captain. He was a captain in the old firm last season. He's worn the armband before. And now he's not even part of the leadership group, you know, for someone like Dowell to come in. And probably because he's not British, you know, and that would have been the only reason why, I'm assuming. But it's like, come on. Like, you know, you're talking about building a squad harmony, making decisions like that. That's how you're going to isolate one of your best players.
Every big change that Russell Martin's made at the club makes no sense whatsoever. And has proven so far to be unsuccessful and unpopular.
I think he's trying to be too brave. To be honest, I think he's trying to make these bold decisions. I mean, majority of Rangers fans, I mean, even including myself, have been wanting to have an dropped out the squad, but that's when we've had players like Dujon Sterling fit. And I don't think Max Aarons is anywhere near the level that Dujon Sterling is, or at least was, when he was fully fit. So, for me, I think Tavernier is 100% the better option in the right-hand side. And at the end of the day, you can't be affording to drop your captain week in, week out.
The other thing as well is everybody that watches football in Scotland will know this. The Old Firm game can go either way. It doesn't matter about form. But one thing that's vastly important is playing experience. You have to have experience, especially in a game that's going to be an environment, dare I say, toxic. A refereeing decision either way could change the game.
I think it'll be toxic in both half.
Both halves,
Celtic fans saying sack the ball, and I mean they've just had a very poor result there during the week, and you know what I mean. We can laugh all we want, but
there's nothing to laugh at after your game.
There's nothing to laugh at after our result, so it's going to be very toxic on both sides.
But we need leaders, and we need the old guards. Whether people say the old guards have let us down in the past or not, that's a different debate for a different time. Because what we witnessed last Wednesday night was absolutely awful. There was no entertainment, there was no fight, no passion. We got absolutely hammered by Bruges, who twice in 2 games took the foot off the pedal. You need experience and you need leadership.
And I mean, we were talking about it. I think it was Tuesday night we were talking about it. Balogun, I don't think we did ourselves any harm bringing him in for another 6 months, even to another year. I think
he wouldn't have been hard to deal with.
His experience would have been ideal for a game like Wednesday night, I think, for me anyways.
I mean, the argument is the future, but he's certainly hit for the short term.
Game, you're seeing all these young players, teams are looking so much younger now, but I think the older guys a lot of the time can be a lot more reliable. I mean, you look at David Weir, played until he was about 40 odd.
Yeah, and some of these young boys might come good eventually, but what I've witnessed in the last few years as well is some of these great players that we get from England and abroad on loan, they fold after the. I mean, look at the boy Ahmed. He was an absolute. He's turned out to be an absolute baller. He's a great player, but the Old Firm game at Parkhead, he completely bottled it. He froze, and that's my worry with these young boys.
I think every Rangers player did, unfortunately. I mean, to be honest, I don't want a single.
But what I'm saying is these young guys can freeze. It's happened in the past, and by the time again. Martin brings on subs maybe when it's too late at Ibrox on Sunday. He should be playing with the tried and tested, the old guard and the experience. No ifs or buts about it. And even if he can get a draw, it salvages some kind of pride back because the support are at what's ending now.
But we don't know what conversations have happened with Russell Martin and the likes of James Tabb or Raskin behind closed doors. But he could have had these conversations with them saying that, you know, you're going to be on the bench for the foreseeable. We're going to really try and push Max Aarons on the right back. But then all of a sudden, results don't go your way. And now Russell Martin has to be like, oh, actually, Tav, you're starting now because he's an absolute waste of space. Like, he might have too much pride and be too arrogant to go and make that decision because he's really chucked all his eggs in the Max Aarons at right back basket and really trying and Joe Rothwell at the number 6. That he might be like, well, I'm going to die by this, and they're going to be playing.
Aye, the problem with that is quite simple. See, the best managers, they don't always pick the best team, but see when they make a mistake, they know when to change it, and they're not afraid to change it. That's to me the best managers. Alex Ferguson done it for years. He would quite quickly change a team if he realised that he'd picked the wrong team. It's not about getting it right if they're 11, it's about getting the game right. And the other thing is, one thing that won't benefit you with Rangers is having favourites.
I mean, you look at, the Barry Ferguson's first game of the season, obviously I'm not trying to compare Barry Ferguson to Alex Ferguson, but Barry Ferguson's first game of the season, we're 2-0 down at Kilmarnock, and it's changed it. It's poor from it in Seattle. It's a poor mistake for the second goal, and he changed it right after the game. We won 4-2. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
Russell Martin doesn't have that in his locker. I don't care what anybody says, he doesn't have that.
He's not got that ball. He's not got it.
The only time he made these changes was at Bruges a few nights ago when we were already 5-0 down. It's almost like a punishment now for the likes of Raskin and stuff to come on 5-0 down, thinking like, oh, nice one, Joe Rothwell in the shower, mate. Go chill out and and just have the rest of the day off. And Raskin's got to deal with your issues now that you've caused.
By the time they brought them on, it could have been 8 or 9. If we're being truthful, because I hit the bar twice, maybe 3 times. Butland had the game of his career. It's just unacceptable, and you have to understand.
The last 6-0, Jack Butland was arguably one of, if not the best player in the park.
I can understand why these guys are frustrated, because the fans and the away fans at the game are frustrated, and everybody I've spoke to is frustrated. It's not good enough. It's not going to get any better, and until they get rid of the manager, I don't see any changes long term.
Nah, I'm the same. I'm the same.
No, and there's no hiding place on Sunday. You know,
No.
if we don't perform, if we go 1-0, if we're 1-0 down, 2-0 down at the break, I would not want to be him at half time, because he could, you know, when he got sacked for Southampton, they were 5-0 down at half time, and he made a team talk at half time basically saying, "It's my last game. Go out there, express yourselves, whatnot." That could be the same thing on Sunday. If we are 2-3-0 down at half time, which under Russell Martin and the way he's playing could very well be a possibility. It'll be one of those team talks at half time. He'll know he's going, because there's no
But
way
that's
he can
it.
come back.
See, when I read that, and I'd read it in the past, that's the words of a loser. Unfortunately, that's not a winner to me. He shouldn't be talking about these things. He should be talking about never surrendering, fighting, and passion, playing for the jersey.
He's no surrender in their side, wouldn't he?
We'll be doing that on Sunday. Don't worry about that. He just doesn't have any of that in his locker. He's probably, people could say he's maybe a nice guy or something like that. I don't even think that, but he's not football managers need to be ruthless. They need to be passionate. They need to be leaders. They need to be winners.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I don't see anything there with him. I just think, to me, it's a matter of when they get rid of him. And when it comes to the stage of when they get rid of him, everyone's chat is when they get rid of him, and the sooner the better.
I mean, for me, in the midfield, I think if we are to get rid of Raskin, God forbid, I think, and I mean, bad my line, but you need an absolute bastard there in the midfield. Somebody, it's just an absolute hard man.
And you have one day to do it.
Mm-hmm.
One day in the transfer market. So the first thing that the teams do is they put the price up. It's the very same as Iggyman. Coming out and saying that Iggyman doesn't want to play, that devalues the contract, whatever anybody says. It's crazy.
You're right. But we're lucky to get 10.5 million from him, I think, as much as it was a release clause, but even then still.
Financially, it was a great deal.
Oh, 100%.
But
I mean, I think great for both parties. I think he'll probably go in and smash it. I mean, fair play him.
And I would like to think there's a sell-on clause or whatever, something in it that they get.
I would absolutely hope so. I mean, a young player with that much potential, there's got to be a sell-on clause there somewhere.
Yeah, there was always sell-on clauses now in football, because they would have had a sell-on clause. His previous club would have had a sell-on clause. So part of that money will be going to them, and then we'll offset that by having a sell-on as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, gents, it's been good. Big game on Sunday. Hope we'll enjoy tomorrow's a big day for Bevan, I suppose, isn't it? Prepare myself for the game on Sunday, but I hope you enjoy the game, win, lose or draw. Thanks for coming on. I think we'll all agree it's a favourable draw for Rangers in Europa Cup, and it's probably where we should be just now. I could be kidding myself on saying the Champions League. The only attractive thing about progressing last week was the money and nothing else. Well, simply not good enough for it just now. But onwards and upwards, win, lose or draw.
Yep.
Always remember,
we are
the people.